Hey you witches, how you doing today? It is a balmy 33 degrees here in Edmonton, Alberta. It is hot, hot, hot. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, but it's only 30 degrees here inside. So, 3 degrees warmer or cooler. So I'm staying inside today. We're in the middle of a nasty heat wave, which is beautiful. I love it. It's like Florida up here where it's usually never this hot. So I don't know if it's global warming or just a seasonal trend or what's going on, but I'll take it. It is beautiful and balmy, but it is hot, hot, hot. Anyways, that's not what you're here for. For those of you who are new, my name is Taya, and today we're going to talk about servitors and my process. Welcome to the channel, and for those of you who are returning viewers, maybe coming in from another video, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again. And either way, guys, consider subscribing and helping us build the channel. It's a great way to help us grow. So yeah, we're gonna talk about servitors in general and just my process that I came up with on how I sort of create and work with servitors. But I think before we get started, we should probably define what is a servitor, because I think there's probably some of you who are like, well, I've heard of it, but I haven't worked with it. I don't know exactly what we're talking about. So a servitor is a magical entity created by a magician to perform a specific task or function for said magician. Typically, it is a symbiotic relationship between a magician and a spirit entity. And the magician offers feeding in the form of energetic feeding to the spirit in exchange for services performed. Now, some say that the magician is sort of out of the ethers creating an entity who will do this work for them. Others say it's more like a job position and you're sort of advertising this is what I want to do, and a spirit from the other world will see it and go, that looks interesting, I'm going to go work with them. And it's sort of like a job position that's being filled by an existing spirit. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know which one it might be. I'm kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Either way, it works, so I'll take it. So that's a little bit about what a servitor is. So here's my process. Here's sort of what I go through. I'm not like some master servitor creator. I have one that I've created successfully and work with. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting topic, and I think it's it can be a really powerful form of magic. So here's what I do. First of all, define the job. So my existing servitor is for helping me create my best life. But we'll use the example of, say, help me lose weight. Right? I want to lose weight, I'm going to create a servitor. So that's the first thing, is identify what you want it to do. Then you're going to write out like the programming. What specifically is this entity going to do? So it's going to help me make healthful choices. It's going to help guide me to fruits and vegetables. It's going to help me stay away from, I love chocolate. It's going to help me stay away from chocolate and chips. It's going to, I don't know, maybe there's like a social media guru that you're following, and it's going to make sure that I see all of her posts as they come up so I can, keep that inspiration going. Whatever it is, write out that programming. And then you need to determine payment. So what are you going to do in exchange for this spirit entity helping you? So when I first came up with mine, I wasn't very creative. I'm like, I don't know. I'll burn a candle. Once a week, I will burn a tea light to energetically feed this entity. In a book that I've just recently read, which I'll get to here, stay with me, we'll do a quick book review at the end. He suggested that, you could make offerings. So, hey, once a week, twice a week, daily, water is a really healthful choice. So daily, I'm going to make sure that I feed fresh water to my servitor, or once a week, I'm going to make sure that I put fresh water out to help, feed and inspire the servitor to continue to work for me. Or maybe it's alcohol, spirits, or milk, or coffee, or whatever, right? You can make regular offerings that way. Another really brilliant point I thought was to use your success to feed the servitor. So when I make a healthful choice, that will feed energetically back to the servitor. When I choose vegetables over junk food, that will energetically feed back to the servitor. When I get on the scale and I see that I've lost 1 pound, that will feed energetically back to the servitor, right? So you can use your results. So the more successful results you have, the more the servitor is fed. The more it's fed, the more inspired it is to keep working for you, right? So it's that positive feedback loop. And the other thing you're going to want to do is come up with a name for your servitor. So some people are like, I'm going to name it Howard. That's one option. Or what other people will do is say it's help me lose weight. Lose weight is the key here, lose weight. So LSWGHT, if I take out the vowels, LSWGHT. So lose weight will be my servitor. So you kind of break it, you right, take that down and compact it into sort of a esoteric sounding name. And then you need to come up with a sigil. However it is that you work with sigils, that's a whole another video, but you will come up with like a master sigil for your servitor, okay? Then what you're gonna wanna do is create what's called a spirit house. Because you've programmed your servitor, you have its sigil and its name, you know what it's gonna do, how it's gonna be fed. So now you need a place for it to reside in this realm. The idea being is that spirits want to manifest and live in this, mundane world, but they don't really have the physical bodies to do it. So you are going to give them a spirit house where they can live and they can manifest, where they can be entertained and where they will be fed. So I just use, I have a little box. It's this big around and about this tall with a little lid. It looks like a little treasure chest almost. And so that's the house that I use. And then what you're going to do is look up correspondences, herbs, oils, gemstones, animals, whatever. And you're going to pull in as much as you can. So you're going to put some of those herbs that correspond to losing weight. So you would maybe look up losing weight, making good choices, all that kind of stuff. What sort of, herbs and oils and gemstones and all that support those goals. And then you're going to put them into the actual house. So I made I have a little, I put it into the box, I put a little dish and I put all the herbs in there. And then I put in some gemstones. Then I actually dropped in, there's 3 different essential oils that I used, and I dropped that into the box. It smells amazing. I put in geese and seagulls were some that supported my best life. Some of the subcategories. So I put in a goose feather and a seagull feather. Stuff like that, right? And you're going to build up this box of trinkets and items, and if there's color correspondences, you could use string in that color and put strings in, whatever. And yeah, some people will use a box. Some people will use a little drawer in a chest of drawers. You could use a jar if you want to be able to see what's in it. You could use a clear, a big jar, whatever you want. And typically you'll house it on or near your altar. And then what I did was I took my master sigil and I put it into the box. Now, other people, it depends how you work with your sigils, right? For me, I don't feel like I need to burn them. I just sort of need to forget about them and they'll work in the background. So I put mine into the box because I don't really look in the box ever. You may want to burn your sigil, whatever it is, but you need to sort of launch your servitor. You need to sort of activate this sigil and get the work going. So however it is that you activate sigils, I basically sat and said, okay, I put the box in front of me, I put all the things in it ritually, explaining to each thing what it was going to do for this servitor. I put the sigil in, I closed the lid, I put the candle on top, I burnt the candle down while feeding energy into the box to, enliven the servitor and speaking to it, telling it what it is that I want it to do. Okay? So for a lot of people, that's sort of the end. They've created the servitor and it's off to the races. For me, what I like to do is I create regular supporting sigils to grow and strengthen and guide my servitor. So live my best life is kind of broad, right? So every new moon, because I'm creating the best of something, a brand new, sparkly, shiny, awesome something, so I do it on the new moon, I add in a new supporting sigil. So say I wanted to do that with the help me lose weight, right? Because that's a pretty big, broad thing. I want to keep I will actually create a new sub-sigil, if you will, as I go along each new moon. Or for losing weight, I'd probably do it on the waxing moon because I'm trying to lose something. So yeah, you could do like, I'm trying to think, help me lose weight. So you could do, you know, I make good choices. I make good food choices. Maybe I just recently went out to a restaurant and there were no good food choices. It's like, you know, maybe you can make a sigil to help guide when I'm going out with my friends. Like, you eat out a lot. When I go with my friends, there will be healthy choices on the menu. Right? Just stuff like that. Or I'm trying to think, maybe it's, you know, hey, I just got this new pair of pants and they're just a smidge too tight. You know, this pair of pants is, you know, help me get this pair of pants to fit. Or, I don't know, I'm having a hard time here, but whatever it is, right? You can create these sort of sub-sigils that will continue along the lines of with the programming that you set up to continue to grow and develop that sigil. And then I do that like every new moon. So about every 30 days, I put in a new sub-sigil. And again, I will sit and I will ritually charge the box and etc. In addition to regular feeding, etc. that I do for the box. So that's kind of optional. Now, one thing is end dates. Depends what you're reading, who you're reading. Some people are very adamant that, you know what, you need to set a 30-day end date. It shouldn't go for longer than a month, and then you need to end your servitor. Like, it can't go longer than that. Or else it's going to like run amok and cause all kinds of issues. Personally, I don't necessarily believe that. I'm on the other camp where they say, no, you know what, as long as you're reviewing and guiding and working with your servitor, it doesn't need to have a definitive end date. In my opinion, when it's like, it's going to run amok and do stuff, that's when we're trying to force spirits to do stuff that they might not necessarily want to do. I've called in a spirit and commanded it that it will do this for me. As opposed to, I've applied to see, you know, I put it out there and who wants to come and fill this job position, right? And they've come willingly into this relationship. They are being fed and guided. I am receiving benefits from making those offerings. It's a, you know, we have a symbiotic relationship and it's good. So it's kind of up to you on how you see that. Now, basically, when I put this together, originally I was working with Aidan Wachter's book, 6 Ways. He has a very short chapter on sigils and servitors. So that's what I was working with. But in the meantime, I've actually found another book. It's called Walking with Magical Entities by Taylor Elwood. It just came out in 2020. It's how to create and work with servitors, egregores, and thought forms to get consistent results. I think this is a brilliant book. He's got great information. He's actually got a whole worksheet on how programming, you know, he's got a very detailed sort of programming to do your servitors. And it's really about cooperative spirit work. And that's sort of the vein that I like to look at it in, is this is cooperative work. Whether I've created that entity out of nothing or it's a spirit filling it from the other side, either way, it's a cooperative, symbiotic, mutually beneficial relationship. So yeah, if you're interested in kind of that take, Walking with Magical Entities by Taylor Elwood. I got it off Amazon. It came out in 2020. Great little book. So I don't know, that's kind of my jam with the servitors. You tell me. I mean, do you work with servitors? What are you programming them to do? What do you feed to them? I'd love to get some ideas and see what everybody else is doing. Otherwise, if you have questions about servitors, feel free to leave them in the comments. And yeah, that's the wrap. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much, you guys.